A lot of athletes have called out Terence Crawford, but he has already agreed to fight Canelo Alvarez. Everyone has been calling Terence out since his fight with Errol Spence. He has even said that he would be interested in a few fights. Terence stated now that fighting within us could happen because we're in the same weight class, but at this point in time I'm looking for bigger and better chances like Charlo. I made him feel a little better. We've been going back for a while, and I was in the moment. I wanted to let him know that I'm also coming after him. I don't like dude at all. Since I have no reason not to like him, I wouldn't say that I don't like him. I don't like him at all. Not only that, but Terence made sure to call out Terence after his fight with Errol Spence. It didn't matter who saw or did it. Crawford has definitely set his limits when it comes to which weight classes he'd want to move to, and he stated, "I would say 154 is my best weight class. Realistically, those boys get big up there, and I'm not a guy to toot my own horn too loud to be able to say, oh, I could beat the world. I understand there are weight groups for a reason, and I respect them. Yeah, I think 154 will be my max given the age. I'm about to be 36 years old in September. I've got to take that into consideration as well." It seems as though a lot of people want to see Terence fight Canelo Alvarez, but a lot of pros don't think that's a fair matchup. Shocker Stevenson stated Terence Crawford is running things right now as for who he should fight next. "I would love to see him go up against Charlo, even though he is already lined up against Canelo. I truly believe Crawford could beat Canelo. Being a softball with excellent movement and sound boxing didn't make it tough for Canelo to wall Crawford down and load up on his powerful hooks. I wish Charlo wasn't going against Canelo, but it is what it is. I think Bud could beat Canelo. I'd like to see it just because I know, I don't think size wins fights. I think skills do, so I think Bud could beat Canelo." Shane Mosley definitely thinks that Canelo is simply too big for Crawford. Shane stated, "I think Canelo would be a little too big for Bud. If Canelo and Bud were the same size, Bud would have the edge, but I think Canelo has the advantage because he's really a lot bigger than Bud. He's too powerful and quick for Bud and Canelo. In that case, I would have to say that Canelo has the advantage, not because he's a better fighter than Bud, but simply because he's bigger." Andrew Burrow believes that Terence could possibly take on Canelo after a fight against Charlo. Andre stated, "I sage Charlo for the 154-pound and challenge titles. After that, Canelo said goodbye to fighting. That's a $100 million play." People saying that Crawford is way too small for Canelo don't know about fighting. They say the same about Floyd versus Canelo. You have to understand that Canelo isn't a big guy. He's small for 168. Crawford is bigger, has a longer reach, and has room to fill out skills and pay the bills. Though people believe that Errol Spence might try to go for an instant rematch before anything, it looks like Stephen A. Smith thinks that Crawford should wait a bit before taking that on.
A matter of fact, let me make a plea over the international digital airwaves of YouTube. Let me make a plea right now to Terence Crawford. I understand you just beat him. You beat him thoroughly. You're the undisputed welterweight champion of the world, the WBO, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF titles, but you hugged him after the fight for a reason. I am making a plea to Terence Crawford. Even if you elect to give Errol Spence Jr. a rematch, please do not do this for at least a year. Please don't do that.
Before Canelo could possibly fight Crawford, he has to get past the fighter that Crawford really wants to fight, Canelo Alvarez. That's a fight that has pros and fans divided though, so Terence could possibly end up fighting whoever wins that bout. Jose Benavidez Sr. stated, "Jamal, I don't think now that's a different situation there. Every time I see him, he's always drinking, and he's going through a lot of things in his life. That's what I hear," said Benavidez Sr. "I don't know. It seems like he hasn't fought for almost 2 to 3 years, so there has to be something going on there. I think his brother Jamil has a better chance of beating Canelo Alvarez. I think Jamal definitely gets stopped by Canelo Alvarez. In my opinion, Terence definitely thinks that Canelo will end up beating Dremel in their match." Terence stated, 168 pounds. "I'm not going up there. Definitely Canelo wins if there's fighting at 168 pounds. Definitely Crawford wasn't too happy about the announcement of the fight, but he definitely thinks that Canelo will end up winning." Tim stated, "I was at home, saw it on Instagram, and thought, nah, they're taking a piss, aren't they? Then I went to Canelo's page, and it said undisputed versus undisputed. I thought about it right away. I called my boss, but nobody picked up, so I called the promoter, and they explained. Then my boss explained I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe it, but after a few days of that anger, I moved on. When one door closes, another opens, and I'm 100 sure there are bigger things on the horizon than little Charlo. I feel like once he gets into the ring against Canelo, he'll be stripped straight away. I think that fight's undisputed versus undisputed. It's the business part of the fight, and we all know that's how this boxing game works, but I will be the WBO world champion afterwards. 100 guarantee. Canelo definitely seems ready for his fight against Jamel, and he even sent a stone-cold message to him. Canelo stated, "Let me tell you one thing. I don't need to get ready because I'm always ready." Bob Arum doesn't think the fight will go the distance, and he put his opinion in too. Bob stated, "Well, Canelo will beat him easily. Charlo's not little Charlo." No, Canelo will probably knock him out in 6 or 7 rounds. Jamil swears that he's been ready to fight Canelo at any time, though.
I'm ready to fight Canelo at any given time. Yeah. Even though I'm undisputed and got mandatories all over the place, I'll fight Canelo just so they can shut that.
In fact, Jamel thinks that he hits way harder than Canelo. Jamel stated, "I think I got the speed, I got the power. I know one thing about it, Canelo's strong. I feel like I'm probably a bigger puncher than Canelo. That's going to be the surprise. I'm not just a little 150 for pounder when I walk around, and I don't have to fight to make 168, so I'm going to have a great time. Training camp has been good. I've already been working for months." Sean Porter doesn't see Jamil being a problem for Canelo either, and he mentioned that when you look at experience, when you look at the fact that Canelo has been multi-dimensional throughout his career, you look at the fact that he has the work rate. We're looking at a right hand from Jamel Charlo, and if that right hand doesn't land between rounds 1 and 8, it probably won't land at all, and Canelo will win this fight. I don't see him losing to Charlo given the fact that Charlo could potentially end up fighting whoever wins that match. Crawford has already given an answer about whether he would fight Canelo. Crawford stated, "No, not at all. Canelo really doesn't interest me because of the size factor. You don't know what weight Canelo's fighting at when he fights." As for what's next for Terence, he stated that he's looking to answer a possible rematch if Errol Spence asks for it and says what he'd do after that. Crawford stated, "That's my obligation in the contract, and I go to respect that. If that's the next move for me and my job, I would definitely choose Jamel Charlo. It's an important fight. It's more history. It's more on the table." If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.